Hello and welcome to Global Gist with BJ. How are you doing? I hope you are good. Now let's talk about why most Black Americans or Black Americans are generally labeled dangerous in America, right? Even when they're not, right? Isn't it strange how America fears the very people who built it? The same hands that picked the cotton, built the cities, and shaped the culture are now called dangerous. But the truth is, Black people, we are never dangerous. What's dangerous is our power, our unity, and our truth. And that's what always that's what they've always tried to silence. You understand that, right? We're not dangerous, we're only powerful. And that's what they've always tried to silence with oh, these guys are too dangerous, these people are too dangerous. But they are not dangerous. You're the one who is scared of their greatness. From the moment a Black child is born in America, they are already seen through the lens of fear. A hoodie becomes a threat. A protest becomes a riot. A voice becomes a weapon. America built an image of the dangerous Black man and angry Black woman. And not because it was true, but because fear is controlled. When the world fears you, it's easier to oppress you. When the world sees you as a threat, your brilliance look like rebellion. But let's be real, Black Americans are not the danger. They are the conscience of this nation. Every major movement of justice, equality, and truth started with us. Every rhythm, every style, every cultural wave that moves the world started with us. The system isn't afraid of crime. It's afraid of consciousness. It's afraid of a generation that won't be silenced or brainwashed anymore. Let's keep watching these videos anyways. I'll be back. Make sure to watch till the end and see what I'm about to say.
You ever notice how America calls you dangerous once you start waking people up? Because back in the early 1900s, there was a man who terrified white power. Not with violence, but with a vision. Meet Marcus Garvey, born in 1887 in St. Anne's Bay, Jamaica. He grew up watching colonialism grind down his people. By the time he hit Harlem, he wasn't there to play respectability politics. He was there to build an empire for Black pride. And he did. He founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association. And by the 1920s, it wasn't just a movement. It was the largest Black mass organization in the world, with millions of members from Harlem to Haiti to Lagos. He launched the Black Star Line. And no, it wasn't just about ships. It was about flipping the script, telling the world that Black people could trade, own, and travel on our own terms. A symbol of independence in a world that was built to keep us begging. And that's when the U.S. government made him public enemy number one. J. Edgar Hoover's bureau didn't call him a visionary. They called him a notorious Negro agitator. Translation? A Black man they couldn't control. They stalked him, harassed him, dragged him into court on mail fraud charges tied to the Black Star Line. By 1923, he was behind bars, and by 1927, he was deported. But here's the thing. You can deport a man, but you can't deport an idea. Even from exile, his words thundered. Race pride, self-reliance, and liberation. His motto was simple. One God, one aim, one destiny. And his fire lit the way for all the movements that came after. The Nation of Islam, the Pan-Africanists. Malcolm X's father even preached his name. So who was this dangerous man that America tried to erase? He was a man that reminded us. Black unity is the one thing that this system can never survive. Say his name. Marcus Garvey.
The greatest threat of violence against American citizens and political violence in this country comes from white men. But now Republicans are trying to disprove a fact that we know based on empirical data that white men are the ones that have perpetuated the most heinous crimes in America.
Joy Reid, who's out there saying Joy Reid type crazy stuff, but it's becoming like a theme amongst lunatics on the left. She's saying it. Don Lemon said something similar the other day. It's white men who he says are the problem in America. And Don Lemon thinks that the white community needs to look at itself because we're producing the killers. They need a serious reality check.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
White supremacy and racism shows its face in a myriad of ways in this country. One of them being is that serial killers, mass shooters, and school shooters not only are given the benefit of the doubt and treated like humans, but in most cases, they are like glorified to be these people that deserve TV shows, that deserve specials, and in many cases, deserve to be treated well. We have Dylan Roof, who shot up a black church and then was taken to Burger King after. When I was a child, Timothy McVeigh was responsible for the Oklahoma City bombing. We have the mass shooter in Las Vegas. Several instances in my own lifetime that I firmly remember that I have always been scared of white men shooting up a place I'm at over anybody of color. There was a meme I saw yesterday that said, I walked into Walmart, I saw a white guy who looked frustrated, and I walked out. Not today. Because even if this lie that America has perpetuated, that black people are so dangerous, we're so villainous, we're so criminally forward, black people don't kill in mass. Black people do not destroy in mass. Black people have never been serial killers. We do not go around essaying children. Though that is reserved for white men. The words of the glorious off-CNN Don Lemon, go fuck yourself.
She wants to stand in judgment about who causes violence in this country. Spare me. Get the fuck out of here.
It's crazy to me that all the lies they perpetuate about black people are just a projection, really, of what white people do. And white crime has been normalized and deemed less taboo than a black person committing crime. And black people commit crime, yeah. Asians commit crime, yeah. Hispanics commit crime, yeah. But who commits the most crime in America? White people. Who's the most convicted people in America? White people. Who has the most overturned convictions in America for being falsely arrested and not given fair trials? Black people. So your statistics, you can take and shove them up your ass because they're skewed to make your stereotypes about us seem real.
Black people, you are dangerous. We've heard it for years. Judge Roberts said it in his decision on affirmative action. We are dangerous. I believe that we just need to be real about it. I know we have fought the stereotype for years, but we're dangerous. I mean, let's think about it for a moment. We are a people that were kidnapped. Before that, we were held in dungeons. We made a trip across the Atlantic that most people wouldn't survive and most people didn't. We were enslaved and raped and sold and beaten. We have had to give up all of our intellectual property during those times and weren't allowed to even own property during those times. We have been marginalized by things like Jim Crow laws, having higher rates at banks even today, being forced to send our kids to oftentimes the worst schools. We have been, our voices have tried to be smothered out in history books and at voting polls. We have, don't get the same health care. We don't get the same jobs and opportunities. And yet, in spite of, there's not much that we don't touch in this country. You can't talk about music, art, fashion, without talking about black people. I'm talking about today. That's why they bring in our talent, our gifts. You can't talk about inventions in science and discussion in math and some of the great things that have happened in healthcare without mentioning black people. Of course, people try. You can't talk about the food industry without talking about what we brought to it. We were the people who were given the scraps and the worst, the things that they didn't want to eat, and made it delicacies today. You give us something, or you give us nothing and we make something. We are the originals of taking lemons and making lemonade and lemon chess pie. And gosh, that's got to be dangerous to those who don't want to share, to those who want to remain in power. That's got to be dangerous, quite scary. So they must keep creating laws to block us. And that's what they've always done. And we still somehow find a way because we're dangerous to them. Even with this affirmative action, horrific decision, a decision based on a country that doesn't exist, a decision that tries to act as if we're a country that's colorblind. I just know that we're going to find a way. I can see our historically black colleges and universities blowing up. I hope our great athletes start coming and bringing money to the schools. I hope those who can afford it start fueling money into the schools. And you know what I've been thinking about? As much as these people, these supremacists are pushing us out, they're forcing us together. And a united black people is dangerous. Keep segregating us. Keep making it difficult for us to integrate. I think they just may find out that we're more dangerous than they thought. Because we bad. We real bad.
See? Weren't black Americans just making fun of Mexicans and Native Americans for being harassed by ICE?
We're not.
You know, what goes around comes around. All that negative energy and karma that you put out against the original people of the Americas and saying that they're not native and you guys are the natives. Yeah, I told you, Creator and the ancestors were watching. They were going to take care of us. Not to mention a bunch of pretendians' homes got flooded. These people are getting attacked by wild animals and all that. We don't even need to lift a finger or even be pressed.
First of all, there's no fucking what comes around goes around. Black people have been getting detained, and I have to keep saying this. Stop and frisk has been a thing. Slave patrol is the origin story of the police. So what the fuck are y'all talking about? There's no go around, come around. We was never making fun. We was telling y'all that we are not immigrants, and you all have never had full solidarity with us. Therefore, why should we put our bodies and use our bodies as shields on the front lines? Getting attacked by wild animals? This is a blatant fucking lie. In Chicago, there are people that are native to Chicago that's there on the land, on the sites, showing the buildings, giving a backstory, talking about how the Venezuelan gangs who were detained and actually taken to facilities, because that is what happened, were there before ICE even came and entered in the chat, and they were crying out for help. So if you do a raid, you got to sort out who's who. None of us were deported. Fucktard. They want us to be immigrants so bad. They want to include us in their plight so bad. We are not you. We are not you. And you calling us pretendians? When I Google pretendian, your picture comes up. Your picture comes up when I Google pretendian. And look at the conditions on some of these reservations. You have bigger fish to fry. Stop worrying about black people and how we identify. It has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Been in this one.
Look at this.
I've been here for like, what, about 2.5 years? Like 2.5 years. No, hold on here as well. So just so I understand, do you have any water now? Yeah. Oh, okay.
No running water.
Well, my brother that's in jail, he kind of drank a lot, so he would come over and I would have to throw him in jail because I don't drink. I don't use drugs or nothing. I kind of just am here for the kids. And I love them.
Displaced
like
kids.
Our kids, I don't know, they bring their friends and their friends come to stay. Like some of them come from broken homes too around here. So sometimes on weekends, I have, like I told you, I have like 20, 21, 22 kids here. So I said, some of my friends all laughed. They call me Mother Hubbard. I said, always taking in more kids.
This is not me putting down anyone, but I'm so tired of everyone's main focus being on black Americans when you all have your own shit that you need to worry about. Clean up your neighborhoods. You all have an epidemic of alcoholism, drug abuse, incest. It's a lot going on over there. I have a best friend that worked for Child Protective Services in Arizona, and the things he told me about what was going on in the homes of the Native American people was absolutely criminal. This is not me saying that black Americans don't have issues. We do. However, you all are continuously shining a light on us while acting as if you don't have a bunch of shit that you needed to clean up, a bunch of skeletons in your closet. Displaced kids. Look at the living conditions on these reservations. You should be focusing your energy on bettering your people. Advocate for your people. Stop trying to prove that you're Native American and somebody else isn't. Because what's the point? We ain't trying to steal your casino. We don't want your reservations. Y'all are trying to fight against the wrong people. And like I said, when I Google pretendian, I see you, I don't see me. This is the natural inhabitant of planet Earth. Cry to your mother, bitch. Spread love us the Brooklyn way.
why did I just get dinner with my coworker and I was showing her like different men that I've talked to or am actively talking to? She was like, wow, these men are so attractive. Like, do you go outside of BET Studios or Def Jam Records to find them? Bitch, what? Did you just call me a monkey?
Marjorie Taylor Greene in her press conference this morning said something incredibly dangerous and incredibly reckless about me, talking about my demeanor as being aggressive and saying that she feels intimidated by me. So first of all, if she feels that way, I'm going to do everything in my power to stay as far away from her as possible, because I don't want her or anyone to feel intimidated by me, number one. Number two, unfortunately, this country has a history of characterizing black men who are outspoken, who stand their ground, and who push back as being threatening or intimidating. So she's not even using a dog whistle. She's using a bullhorn to put a target on my back to the people that she refers to as MAGA people out there who might want to cause harm. This is the same reason why Mike Brown was killed. This is one of the reasons why Emmett Till was killed. And throughout history, black men have continued to be characterized as aggressive because, one, because of our skin color, but two, because we happen to be outspoken and passionate about certain issues.
So you think what she said was racist?
It's reckless and dangerous what she said, okay? Characterizing me, in my interaction with her yesterday, I never invaded her personal space. I was laughing and gregarious the entire time. How was that intimidating? What was intimidating about that? So she goes to a press conference today and say that she's intimidated by me and my mannerisms are aggressive. Anyone who's interacted with me, anyone who knows me, even reporters here, know I'm middle school principal energy. I'm always loving and engaging and friendly, except when kids are being killed in our streets. Everyone should be outraged about that. So do not conflate what my engagement with Representative Massey with my engagement with her yesterday. It was completely different. But she knows what she's doing when she does that. And unfortunately, white supremacists, historically, this is what they do. They try to dehumanize black people, black skin, and the black humanity so that they can be, more likely to be targeted for harm. So I just wanted to address that. And I was surprised that no one asked me about this when y'all first came to me with the media scrum. No one asked me directly about my reaction to her press conference. Framed it in all these other ways. And then went to Massey. That was 3 weeks ago, a month ago. We're talking about what happened yesterday and what happened this morning, and what she did was dangerous and reckless. And I just wanted to say that to y'all for the record.
If you're a Christian white parent who loves the Lord and loves your children, that you need to have the talk. The talk that we're referencing is the talk that takes your children according to their maturity at the proper time, the appropriate time, and says there are certain parts of town that you cannot go, and there are certain people that you cannot be around. Yep. Right? If there's someone who is black in our church and they've been in our church and we know them and they love the Lord Jesus Christ, great. We're not talking about that person, right. But we're talking about when you go into a crowd of people. If you go into a crowd of strangers and they're white strangers, there's some danger. If they're black strangers, there is 30 times more danger. Them's the facts. And it is actually a failure of your parental duty. White parents, please hear me. If you teach your children growing up, if you lie to them and say all people and all races of people in our country are the same, they are not. You are actually depriving your child of factual, truthful information that could save their life.
America is so racist. How racist is America? America is so racist that when a white guy killed another white guy in the whitest state in the fucking country, people started making threats against historically black colleges and universities. That's right. A white guy killed a white guy in the whitest state that there is. And the response was to harass and sow fear in the lives of black students. America is so racist.
It's always the blacks. Black activities. Dude, they're all black. Typical suspects. Those looters were not Mexican and were not a part of the march against ICE. You can tell from two things. Yup, I see white and black people taking advantage of the chaos happening. These are comments that I'm seeing under videos of people looting stores in the Los Angeles area. What I don't understand is how talking negatively about black people is going to help the cause that these people are marching for. If you're marching to stop ICE from inhumanely ripping apart families, how is talking negatively about black people going? going to help the cause. It's not. And there's enough videos of non-black people destroying property and looting. So, like, talk to your family members. Talk to your family members and stop commenting this under these videos. Y'all have to change your mentality. This looks real weird. You know how weird this looks?
That 2 men are being charged for possession of an unregistered destructive device for their roles in the violence. Emiliano Galvez and Raki Quijui are accused of attempting to actually throw Molotov cocktails at police.
Saturday. Tell us about this guy and what charges is he now facing?
Bill, that's right. This is a Mexican national who is in our country illegally. He's being charged with attempted murder, throwing Molotov cocktails at our law enforcement officers, at our ICE enforcement officers. But this is not his first run-in with the law. Just last year, he was charged with a DUI as well as grand larceny. This is the perfect example of people who should not be in this country.
Let's just say the blacks get a felony looting conviction. That's up to $10,000 and up to a 3-year sentence in prison. For attempted murder, mandatory minimum 15-year sentence before they even consider parole. I know those comments don't represent everybody, but to say the blacks are destroying a peaceful protest when you see what's going on is like to blame it on the blacks. Like anybody commenting that, y'all have to talk to your family members. This is out of control.
If slavery never happened, then you would be in a grass hut. Yeah. Right? Well, we need reparations. Your reparations are that you get to live in America. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You get to have the Christian religion.
That's
live
right.
better than your ancestors.
The greatest
ever would
moment in history for any brown or black country is the moment that the white man's ships arrive on your shore.
Let me tell you about what black people suffered through after those white men's ships arrived on their shores. They got hundreds of years of enslavement, oppression, abuse, torture, murder, rape. Not only did black former slaves get nothing after emancipation, President Andrew Johnson, a white Southerner, he made certain that white enslavers were made whole. Reparations, but not for former slaves, reparations for rich white slave owners. After the Civil War, blacks were kept poor, systematically poor, and with almost zero ability to grow wealth. Thousands of black prisoners were leased by southern states to former white enslavers in what were called convict leases, where blacks, again, worked for free while white men made themselves rich again from their labor and upon their broken backs. There were also sharecropping, which grossly exploited black work ethic while allowing the former enslavers to maintain their power and to continue to grow their wealth, their white wealth. Again, ultimately passing that on to future generations of their white descendants. Of course, during this time, there were also Jim Crow laws in place all over the South, which made it illegal for black Americans to occupy the same spaces as whites. Hospitals and bathrooms, private buildings, elevators, phone booths, restaurants, water fountains. Everything that was white, which was everything, was off limits for black Americans. Black Americans. Jim Crow laws also intended to force black people into indentured servitude, to limit their voice in the political system by stripping away their constitutional rights to vote, and to control where they live. It was the American legal system explicitly designed for oppressing them. You know this though, Joel, right? So tell me, Joel Webben, your goofy little sidekick maybe, or anybody else for that matter, black people should be thankful? Thankful? America wasn't a different nation back then. In so many ways, we are the same country, making the same mistakes, abusing the same peoples, reinforcing those same old traumas.
One of the things I wish people spoke more about is the criminality stereotype against black people, specifically black men. Now let me land. So I was at a cafe about 2 days ago and I was sitting beside this young lady. And long story short, when it came time for her to leave, she couldn't find her wallet. And I still had my headphones in, but I can hear the commotion of her searching for her wallet. And in all that time, she was looking through her bag and everything. The only thing I kept thinking about was, yo, I hope this woman doesn't suspect me. Now, mind you, there are cameras all over this cafe. If they wanted to see who actually took the wallet, they could have just run through the cameras and see who took it. And of course, I didn't look in her direction or ask her if she needed any help because that would add to the suspicion. You feel me? And so now, obviously, this is just one scenario, but things like this have serious implications when it comes to interactions with the police officers or the justice system in general. Take, for example, when a black man gets pulled over by a cop, those same anxious behaviors might eventually come out as suspicious to those officers, leading them to think you must be guilty of something. And so this is why you will see black parents stressing, saying, whenever you get pulled over by a police officer, don't do anything. But we all know that you can be doing nothing and still become a statistics. The simple fact that you are a black man means you're doing something. And so now you're left with this fear phenomenon where I call it a fear loop, where when interacting with black men, it's possible that police officers might misinterpret these fear responses as suspicious criminal behaviors, leading to more aggressive behaviors towards black men. Where do you win?
All right, Charlie, this is where we get real controversial, right? Because we are about to listen to a CIA agent talk about how the crime statistics are twisted. We like to blame black men, right? Black people in general are only 13% of America's population.
Like any of the previous faces, no longer should we be afraid of black inner city men. The statistics all show that violent activity is not tied to black men. It's actually tied to Caucasian men.
Let's get that fact straight right now. But we do not cause 50% of the crime in America. That's absolutely incorrect, right? Most of the crime committed is from white people. Now, I'm not saying that to play the blame game or whatever. I'm simply looking at the facts and listening to what this man from the CIA.
We've seen these 3 high-profile violent acts, all 3 carried out by white, educated, intelligent men under the age of 30 who are unemployed. What does that mean for the future? Because
he's saying that statistics point to smart, under the age of 30, white men are the people who are committing the most heinous and crazy crimes in America right now. Those aren't my words, they're his. So the new face of threats in the United States no longer looks like me. It looks like who we thought was not a threat. Now, I'm not blaming anybody, so don't call me racist. These are the CIA statistics.
Are also the face of violence. And when you dig into the personality profiles of Thomas Crooks, Tyler Robinson, Luigi Mangione, not only do you find that these are smart people, but you find that they are charming. You find that they are friendly. You find that they are shy and introverted, that they are the average next door neighbor that everybody's really very fond of. Nobody expected any of these 3 people to carry out the heinous acts that they carried out.
I want to follow that up by saying, listen, I love everybody. I don't have a hating bone in my body. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. I don't care. As long as you're American, you love this country for each other. So according to the CIA spy, in America, major crime is no longer tied to black men. It's tied to someone else. Not my words. These are the words and the statistics of the CIA. According to statistics, 43% of the crime is coming from black men. 57% of the crime and violent crimes are coming from Caucasian men. Now, I'm not playing the blame game, right? But what I'm saying is this. Can we stop looking at each other and saying, you're worse or you're worse? Because at the end of the day, it's a sickness in America and we all need to be healed. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, it don't matter. We're all American. Let's heal each other. Let's stop playing the blame game. Let's come together so we can take our country back.
A Lyft driver called me a racial slur and almost hit me with his car after I got out. So I take the train and the bus and everything to work. So I went on my daily routine every day. I waited for the bus. It was behind 15 minutes. And then I got my kids on the bus and we went to their daycare. I dropped them off and then I hop on the train so that I can get to work. So everything was basically a little delayed today. My train was delayed 5 minutes and then it took a stop and it was we're resting for signal clearance. That took another 5 minutes and I was okay, come on now, get me there, So I get to the train station and normally I would use Uber and do an Uber share ride. They're pretty inexpensive and honestly I haven't had any trouble in an Uber share ride, but for some reason Uber, the app, I don't know, wasn't working. I think I owed them money. I'm not gonna lie. I think I owed them money. So I wasn't able to use Uber. So I ended up having to use the Lyft app. And, you know, I've had previous rides through Lyft. They just are a little bit more expensive, you know, with a limited budget. So, like, honestly, like, I've had other rides for Lyft, and I didn't have any problems. You know, I got to my destination safely. If there was any, like, concern about where the GPS might have been taking me, or, you know, if it might have been saying to drop me off at a different location, or, you know, if it ended up being a share ride, like, where are we going next? Like, my questions got answered, and I felt assured that I would get to and from my destination in my previous Lyft rides. Now, the one that I had today was the complete opposite, and it jarred me to my core. I had never been so humiliated and so embarrassed and so shamed for looking how I look, how I was born. You see? So I get into the Lyft ride. I say, hello, are you here for Sparkle? He says, yes. I'm okay. I'm eating my little donut. I got my Dunkin'. I wasn't supposed to, but I did it anyway. And the ride was going pretty smooth. Now, in the ride, I'm trusting the driver to get me to and from my destination safely. So I'm paying attention, but also I'm on my phone and everything to work. So I went on my daily. So we get to every day. we get to a stoplight that we would have had to make a right turn at. For some reason, my GPS, when it gets inputted into Uber or Lyft, the GPS will route the drivers to a different big building and parking lot, and then it took a stop, and it was so that you can cut through the parking lot, go on a back street behind the building, and then jut out into traffic, like diagonally into traffic on the side. I get to the train so by the time we would have made it to that entrance, that exit point, the light would have turned green, and all of these cars would have been turning our way, and we would have had to sit there, or he would have just jutted out into traffic. Uber, the app, and it's happened before. Like, it's happened before. So I'm trying. So I tell him. So I wasn't able to use Uber. Anyways, I'm on my phone, and I see him turning into this big building parking lot. And so I tell him, I've had previous rides, oh no, don't turn right here. I'm like, I'm so sorry, like, don't turn right here. You know, with a limited budget. I don't know why the GPS is I've had other rides, but honestly, you can just turn right around. I didn't make a right any at that light, problems, and you're good to go. You know, I got to my destination and he safely. Was like, what? If there was any like concern, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, like where the GPS might you can just turn right around, like from the parking lot, and you can go and make a right at that light, and then if it might have been the GPS saying to drop me off at a different location. Okay, so where do you want to go? If it ended up being a share ride, and he was really rude. And I was like, my questions. And I took a moment, I paused, and I was like, am I being rude to him? Like, am I saying it a different way? Like, I shouldn't say. The one that I had today was the complete opposite. So I was like, you can just turn out of the parking lot. It jarred me to my core. I had never been so humiliated and so embarrassed and so shamed. I've had this happen before. For looking how I look, how I was born. You see, the Lyft app or the I get Uber into the Lyft ride. I say, hello, are you here for Sparkle? He says, yes. I'm okay. And I was like, yeah, I don't know why it does that. Like, I really do apologize. I wasn't paying attention. I've been coming to the same job for 3 years, so the ride was so normal to me. And the ride was going pretty smooth. Now, and he was like, okay, yeah, you can just hush. I'm trusting the driver to get me to and from my destination safely, so I'm paying attention, but you can just hush on my now. phone. I said, excuse me? I said, who do you think you are talking to me like that? We get to and he was like, you're being so irate, you're yelling, you're screaming, like, you're being so rude to me, and all I'm trying to do is just drive. I said, it gets inputted into Uber. Well, I didn't yell at you. I said, now I'm probably yelling at you because you're yelling at me. I said, but I didn't yell at you. Big building in parking lot. I said, I simply just gave you a different instruction so that because I knew what the traffic was going to do. Go on a back street behind the building and then jut out into traffic, like diagonally into traffic on the side. Car in the middle. So by the time we would have made it to that entrance, that exit point, the light would have turned green, and all of these cars would have been turning our way to diffuse the situation. And I feel so, I'm so afraid. I feel so trapped. I feel like I have nowhere to go. The door's locked. It's happened before. So I'm trying to yell at me and I tell him, I told him, sir, please just get me to my destination. I'm on my phone. I have no other means of transportation. Please just get me to where I gotta go. Parking lot. And so I tell him, and so he's like, oh yeah, I'll get you to your destination. You just you're being disrespectful. You're yelling, and I'm like, I'm not yelling at you. I don't know why I want you to get me to where I'm going. But honestly, you can just turn right around, make a right. So he drives, and you're good to go. And he's driving, and he's still screaming and yelling as he's driving. And as he's driving, he's turning around, looking in the back. You can just turn yelling and pointing at the parking lot, and you can go saying that I'm being irate, I'm being disrespectful, I'm screaming and yelling the rest of the way. And he was like, okay, so where do you want me to go? In the middle of the street, rude. And I was like, to turn around and yell at me. And I took a moment, I paused, and I was like, am I being? And I say it again, I said, sir, am I saying it a different way? Get me to my destination. I said, you can just drop me off right here. It was the side of the street. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I said, you could just drop me off right here. You can just drop me off right here. Parking lot, and you can go out into the street. And I get out the car, and as I'm getting out the car, and then it'll take you the rest of the way. And I said, sometimes I've had to skirt his car. I said, sometimes you know, like with his car, the Lyft app or the Uber GPS system will take you this way. Like how I explained earlier. I have to make it right. And I was like, yeah, I don't know why it does that. Like, I really do apologize. I wasn't paying attention. I've been coming to the same job for 3 years, so the route is so normal to me. I know where I'm going. And he was like, okay, yeah, you can just hush. Now, during this whole interaction, and I said, excuse me? I don't have, he said, yeah, you can just hush now. and record him.
I said,
because
excuse
so
me?
afraid.
I said,
I didn't know
who do you
what
think
he
you
was
are
going to do.
talking
I
to
didn't
me
want
like
to take my
that?
eyes off of him.
And he was like,
stopping his
you're
car in
being
the
so
middle of the street. He was
irate,
screaming, he
you're
was
yelling, you're screaming.
He wasn't even paying attention
you're being
to the
so
road.
rude to me. And all I'm
And
trying
mind
to
you,
do
he
is
was
just
going
drive.
20 miles per hour over the speed limit.
I said, now I'm probably yelling at you because you're yelling at me. I said, but I didn't yell at you.
He was just.
I said I simply just gave you a different instruction because I knew moment of my life and in front of my workplace. And he was like, you can just hush, stop. You stop talking. You stop talking. You're yelling. You're being disrespectful. To pay my bills. He stops his car outside in the middle of the street vehicle to turn around and with your window rolled down. And you call me a racial slur. And I am really trying my hardest to diffuse the situation. And I feel so. I'm so afraid. I feel so trapped. I feel like I have nowhere to go. The doors are locked. Treat someone like that. And he's yelling at me and berating me. I told him, "Sir, please just get me to my destination. I have no other means of transportation. I wasn't rude. Please just get me to where I gentle. I was calm and I was quiet." And so he's like, it was 9 o'clock in the morning. You just hush. You being disrespectful. You're yelling. And I'm like, I'm not yelling. I did nothing. I want you to get me to where I'm going. To try to flip the situation and make it seem like I am the aggressor here. And he's driving and he's still screaming and yelling as he's driving. And as he's driving, he's turning around, looking in the backseat, a lot of yelling and pointing at me about people, saying that I'm being irate, I'm being disrespectful, I'm screaming and yelling. I need a response. I reported this again. I talked in the middle of the street service to turn around and yell at me, berate me. And then I talked to another one. So actually, I say it again. I said, "Sir, please get me to my destination." I said, "You can just drop me off right here." He was saying, like, "No, yeah, someone will get out to you. Like we see." I said, "You can just drop me off right here. You can just drop me off right here. Someone will reach out to you." I did receive an automated text. I did receive an automated text. He skirts his car, and I did receive an automated text saying that I would get a call in a few minutes, and then they called me right after, but I was working, so I didn't see that call until an hour later. I have to make a rhyme. So I tried to call back, and then I got like a regular representative, and they told me the same thing. And when I asked if I could be transferred to the higher representative that's going to handle my case and actually like help me get some justice for what happened to me, I didn't think to pull my phone out. He was like, "No, record him," because I was just so afraid. I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't want to take my eyes off phone or email because he was stopping his car in the middle of the street. He was screaming. He was yelling. He wasn't even paying attention to the road. And mind you, he was going 20 miles per hour over the speed limit. You can check it. I looked at it. It was just ridiculous. Like, it was the scariest moment of my life. And in front of my workplace, in front of the place that I come to make money for my children, to provide, to pay my bills, you're outside in your vehicle with your window rolled down and you call me a racial slur like that to my face. To my face, in front of my workplace. It didn't matter if he knew or not where he was dropping me off. You do not treat someone like that. You do not speak to someone like that, especially when offhand, I was polite. I wasn't rude. I was gentle. I was calm and I was quiet. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. I did nothing of the sort. And for him to try to flip the situation and make it seem like I am the aggressor here has really, really changed my viewpoint on a lot of things that I believed in about people. Lyft, I need a response. I reported this immediately. I talked to like 2 different service providers in the chat. And then I talked to another one. So actually I talked to 3. That was my 3rd one that I had talked to in the chat. And he was saying like, yeah, someone will get out to you. Like, we see the notes on your account. Someone will reach out to you. I did receive an automated text. I did receive an automated text saying that I would get a call in a few minutes. And then they called me right after, but I was working. So I didn't see that call until an hour later. So I tried to call back, and then I got like a regular representative, and they told me the same thing. And when I asked if I could be transferred to the higher representative that's going to handle my case and actually like help me get some justice for what happened to me, he was like, "No. They will give you a call back. They will contact you via phone or email." Welcome back. Credit to those amazing creators. I feel your pain, right? But I know it's going to be better very, very soon. They call us dangerous because we remind America of its sins. They call us dangerous because our strength exposes their weakness. They call us dangerous because our truth still echoes louder than their lies. But let me tell you something. We are not dangerous. We are divine. And no matter how they label us, the world will always know the truth. Without Black America, there is no America. Yeah. Without FBAs, there's no America. We are not the danger. We are the light that controls everyone. And we are also that light that they can't control. Let me see your thoughts in the comments, right? Please do not forget to share this video. Kindly subscribe, like, and comment. It's always me, Stay Global on Global Just with BJ. I'll see you next time. Bye.